Sex workers of Reddit, what is the worst request a client has given you? I haven't had too many bad experiences, but I did get a pretty unique request. So I do online work. I had a guy sexting me one day who told me sponges turn him on. The word sponge, the smell of one, touching one, doing dishes, all of it. So we rollerplayed, like I was washing dishes, and I sent him a little video of me cleaning with a sponge, like look how soapy and sudsy my sponge is getting. I'm trying to clean up, but I'm just making such a mess, and he ate that shit up. It's nice to get something completely brand new every once in a while lol. Plus I was getting chores done at the same time. I bet he gets off watching SpongeBob. Edit. Thank you for the awards. I punched a pillow as hard as I can for an hour while saying his mom's name. It was definitely arm day that day. See, this one's just confusing. He got off on that. Maybe he didn't like his mom and wanted to fantasize he had a hot girlfriend that would beat her up. I'm so ducking normal. One guy used to want me to make him come in a spoon and then feed it to him. That was weird. Another guy kept insisting that I tell him that I love him. That just made me sad. Well, the love part guy hits me hard. I feel one day I have to do that too lol. I love you. I sold foot pics / videos / Skype sessions a few years ago. Before the market became absolutely flooded. I had a lot of people asking for me to stomp on small animals, bugs, mice, reptiles, etc. That's against my moral code and Ike. So I never did it, but even if I was willing to do it, they wouldn't pay very much for it. Also saw some messages from a friend I made in the business where some French dude asked her to cut off a toe and sell it to him so he could eat it. Not sure if he was just trolling, but honestly I would not be surprised if he was serious. Or of course there's the people who asked if I had any naughty photos of myself from before I turned 18. Now I'm sad thinking about the little animals being stomped by people actually willing to do it. I now wonder if I'm good looking enough to make money shitting on people off of Craigslist. Thanks, Reddit. After reading some of the stuff I got a negative boner. So I have a genuine fear of balloons, latex balloons specifically. I've posted about it jokingly online, but for the most part it's not widely known. A man messaged me a few months back asking for feet pictures, and I was super excited that it had finally happened to me. I used to get so jealous of girls that would be asked for feet pics and turn them down like honey, send them my way. Turns out, he has a foot fetish but has also a Luna. He has a balloon fetish. I thought it was a friend pranking me at first, but he was legit. He knows about my fear of balloons. So we've settled on using a beach ball as a compromise. Every few months, I hump a beach ball fully clothed for a minimum or two and make big money $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ big black heads and dilated paws of whiners on his back, and he asked me to pop them and eat them. I declined. This same guy liked being pissed on, being puked on, and sticking his fingers up my nose and eating my snot. Also one guy asked me to shit in his mouth. Nope. Oh god. This is the worst one. He just needs to work on his phrasing. Don't be too forward. Try something like, "Hey, you hungry? I know this great spot to eat." Some weird ones. One client had a foot fetish and would spend his 45-minute session putting bulldog clips on the underside of my feet. It was pretty painful, but I got paid well and didn't have to do anything physical with him. In the intro room the client told me he wasn't looking for anything physical, but asked if I would walk on his back, ease him in, go into the booking, and what he actually wanted was for me to walk on his back in stilettos, engraven, fake, initials onto his chest with my heel, stomp on his genitals, walk on his face, spit on and demean him. It was actually one of the most horrendous things I ever did. I'd rather duck a creepy old dude than ever take a booking like that again. I'm just amazed he survived, having a T90 on top of him. Good god. She's built like a tank. Apostrophe. I've been a stripper on and off since college. Long story FYI. My personal favorite had a older guy come up to me on a dead Monday night. No other dancers there yet, and I'm freakishly early for my shift. Asks me to sit with him, so I'm like, okay, why not? A waitress comes by and takes our drink orders and happens to wish me a belated happy birthday from a few days prior. The customer goes, "Oh, happy birthday," and hands me $50. So I'm like, cool, maybe this guy will spend a bit. He upfront says he won't do dances or rooms, but he'll pay for conversation every 20 minutes or so. The guy hands me a $100 bill. I'm stunned because this might be an old school strip club customer thing, but it's far from the norm nowadays. He's there almost the entire night, and I obviously make quite a bit and can tip out everyone real well. He's from out of town, says he'll be back the next day. Tuesday comes. He does the same thing. $100 bills all night. I don't make quite as much, but still a nice amount. He says again he'll come the next day. Wednesday rolls around, and he says he wants to chat with me. He had been trying to schmoz me with all this "I'll be your sugar daddy" bullshit, so I assume he's gonna propose an arrangement. As an aside, I have a steady boyfriend who I live with, so I wasn't interested. Just wanted the customer's money at work. He tells me there's an issue with his bank. He claims he can't take money out of any ATM in the city, so he wants me to loan the money back he gave me, and he'll write me a check. Naturally, I'm not an idiot and have worked in finance, so I know this is a scam. So I just say no can do, I don't carry cash on me. He then suggests that I drive a half hour to my house and then back, and that he really doesn't mind, lol. Again I say, I'm at work buddy, it's not gonna happen. He says, "I know you're wary, edit, spelling, so pull your phone out for me." I'm too entertained by his bullshit, so I had to do it rather than just walk away. I'm so glad I did. He tells me to look up his name, as he was some big wig for a branch of a large bank in his home state. Says he's a well-known, respected figure in his community and would never scam me. Immediately I pull up the first article with his name and picture. This dumb motherfucker has lost his banking license and had been arrested for fraud and writing bad checks. He not only had the audacity to request I lend him the money back that he spent, but actually led me right into evidence that he had already been found guilty for the exact crime and was going to scam me. A bit different from the typical weird requests from guys asking you to kick them in the balls or something, but still my favorite story. I had a guy book an appointment. The screening and everything leading up to the appointment was totally normal. A few important things to note: he and I were about the same age, late 20s, and I do not advertise fetish. My brand is pretty much girl next door. I arrive. We chat a bit. Then suddenly he asks me to rollerplay. Things escalate quickly as he wants me to be his stepmother and torture his balls. That appointment ended quickly. The duck is with the surprise ball torture shit. It's like it's all the same, dude. It's because if you lead with ball torture, nobody will agree to it. It seems bait and switch is the most reliable way to get your ball torture fix. Not a sex worker, but I used to live close to a goga bar in Thailand. I would eat in the same places as the workers there. Countless stories about men wanting to defecate on them or them doing it on the customers. One guy, he was very tall and wide. He rented all the girl in the club and the Amazon. Must have been 15 or so. They just had to lie next to him and cuddle for the whole night. Gave all of them a huge tip. Came in every night for 2 weeks. The bonus for me was that the place closed early and I did not have to listen to the crappy music every night. Honestly, I understand where that guy is coming from. Sex is nice and all, but have you ever tried cuddling? I'm just wondering if he was a really well-off guy that was doing it deliberately to give the girls a night off. Some guy wanted my friend to shove a cucumber up his ass. He paid her $500 for a 20-minute stunt with a cucumber. She did it gladly, but was kinda concerned for the guy. That's the good price. How much does she charges for an aubergine? // Thank you for the award. Hold off for a bit. There's a Halloween special on pumpkins coming. My friend is, and she has a regular client who asks that she spits orange juice in his eyes, with or without pulp. The real questions. Not a sex worker, but I had a guy ask me if I could get my dental records and read them to him. He also wanted to tell him how much pain was involved with my procedures. Another time, right in the midst of things, he asks if he can cath me. Fuck, I was out there. My mom used to be a sex worker, and one time this guy wanted her to stab a hamster to death with a syringe. He provided the hamster and syringe in front of him. She stole the hamster and his money without doing it. I work with a 94-year-old dementia patient. He wants to pay me $100 to just lick my big titties just once, sit in his lap, motorboat my titties, just let me play with you a little. Not a sex worker, but he makes me feel like one. Edit. Thank you for the 4 awards, I'm non-deserving of them. You're all too kind. $2,000 to send a vid of me having sex my dog. I blocked him. Co-worker used to work with a guy who was into scat, except the scat involved a glass table. Apparently he liked the woman to sit on top of the glass table and shit while he laid under it and beat off. So it's like watching scat porn but living in Athens. Working for peanuts. I lived in a cheap apartment in a seedier part of town. I got to meet all the neighbors over the time I was there. The lady in the basement was running a brothel. She was usually the only one working. Every Sunday 3 men, an old man, a middle-aged and young man, would rock up and sit outside her door. One day, when we got on familiar enough terms, I asked her, "How come you entertain these 3 same time every week?" She said it was a tradition among some Greek families. This one in particular, that son, father and grandfather would call into a brothel and have sex on the way home from church. They were sharing the same prostitute. I don't know whether it is generally a tradition or not, but it was with this family. This seriously reads like the setup for a joke. I was waiting for the punchline. Me too. Like some kind of strange inappropriate joke that a strange uncle would do. I knew a guy who started doing foot fetish work on Craigslist because he had huge feet. He'd go to someone's house and they would worship and play with his feet while they jerked themselves off. No actual sex involved. Then it escalated to where he started pissing on customers. Then one day a man asked to get shat on. It was a nice sum of money. So the guy lay down on the floor while my friend crouched over him and dropped a hot, slippery turd in the guy's mouth. Somehow foot fetish morphed into scat play. Yeah, I feel like we skipped a few steps here. I dom online. Well, one client really gets off on the whole human toilet thing and it's going fine, I guess. Make him lick toilets. Degrading him. Make him film himself so I can show other doms and they can all laugh at him cause he gets off on that shit. Pun intended. Boo it. Then he requests that I shit in a jar and mail it to him so he can eat it. So anyway, I know that's not incredibly wild, but it's the one that sticks out in my mind. It wasn't that wild until it was. I guess in a way it's always building to that. First it's your beautiful mistress to "Can I eat your shit lol?" Too much shit going on in this thread. I used to know a sex worker and she used to say that the most common weird thing she gets, which is actually really common, is guys wanting her to bend over naked and fart in their face. My wife would do that for free. When can I come over? To go to Starbucks. Ask for a cup. Pee in it. Leave it there for him to drink it. To K. Most guys were very normal. They wanted to be pegged or have me dressed up. But this one, OMG. I died laughing when he texted me what he wanted. Edit. Also, the professor at a very well-known university in the US used to make me meet him and give him my underwear. 100 per pair. And then at the Target would meet it buy some more lol. Ex-sex worker but stepchild shit for shocking wise. But honestly, any sex worker will tell you the worst request is constantly being asked to have unsafe sex or compromise your worth. It's the absolute worst part. As a regular client, I won't even dare ask for unsafe sex. If someone agreed to have unsafe sex with me, who knows how many other people she agreed to do it with. Many years ago I worked security in a gentleman's club. Every 5 or 6 weeks this one dude would come in and have a special request. Always the same request. So we put him and the lady in a monitored booth. CCTV so we can make sure there ain't no violence or shit. So anyway, this bloke's request would be to have our lady with the biggest natural boobs to be completely naked and wearing red high heels. Then he would want her to jump on and generally grind/stamp on his ball bag and penis whilst making her boobs bounce as much as possible. He wouldn't get off until he was bleeding. Then he wanted her to piss on him after he'd finished. Each time he'd be paying like $200 for this. He was a strange dude. I definitely got the rappy/stalker feeling from him. Easy money for the lady though. At this rate, sex workers of Reddit should do AMA every week. I sold nudes of myself for a while. I got some pretty nasty requests. I also was a sugar baby. Kind of became one by accident. Guy was very much into me being his baby. So I did a lot of adult baby stuff for him. Which wasn't that bad. The worst thing he had me do was he'd give me an enema in a diaper, then I'd give him a blowjob in a full diaper. That got me paid. A lot. Was pretty gross though. I have no frame of reference. Just intellectually curious. It's not my kink. But how much? Ballpark. Was that experience worth to your client? Which is a little different than what you'd be willing to sell the experience for. Close bracket. He preferred to buy me expensive things. But the first night I did that he gave me $1,000. I acted out the request of a rape roleplay which stuck me up emotionally for years. The guy gave off serial killer vibes, and I didn't have any friends or family at the time, and I was terrified I'd just disappear without anyone knowing. I restructured how I worked after that night, and started working primarily as a dom. So I felt like I had more control of my encounters with clients. That night was almost 7 years ago, and I've been done with sex work for 5 years. Shortly after I quit, I had an experience where I was actually raped. And anytime I think of the roleplay I get a nauseous feeling in my stomach for doing it. Not a sex worker, but my ex was. An old guy used to come in occasionally and pay to be walked around on a leash like a dog, and at the end of the night he'd take home all of the used condoms and suck each one clean. I'm not even kidding. I put on my band wizard hat. While in Thailand, I knew a guy that paid a lady of the night to give her a massage. She looked really uncomfortable with him massaging her shoulders. Can't really describe the cringe. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.